Michelle Ryan, an administrator with DATCAP, is joining us here today on WRCO Radio. Michelle, we have lots of holiday notes to keep people out of a jam, hopefully, right?
Absolutely. We are here for consumers year-round, 24/7. No, and we want to be sure that while we're busy this holiday season, people are keeping an eye on things.
Let's talk about snowballing scams, which I guess that's kind of appropriate. In December, we talk about snowballing, but this is a different kind, isn't it?
Yeah, you picked up on that. We are playing on that theme, but this is a troubling trend that we are seeing. Scammers are chaining together different scam techniques to start small, but these are quickly snowballing into something much larger for consumers, and it's a more elaborate scheme. Many consumers expect that a scammer will only use one of these methods to steal their money or data, and we've talked about that over the years a lot. And then they'll move on, but it might be just the beginning now, and consumers have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to these professional scammers, and we need to keep the word out.
So what is it, like pop-ups and texts? How are people kind of hooked in there, so to speak?
Yeah, well, it works like this. The scammer lures consumers in using a common small-scale, tried-and-true tactic. So think the impersonation scams we've talked about, maybe fake pop-ups or calls and texts. And then they may even know the consumer's name and personal details from different data banks that they have. They gain the consumer's trust and establish credibility, then present a problem. And something has gone wrong and the consumer's in financial or legal trouble. And this is where the threats are made, like the consumer's identity's been compromised or their life savings are being accessed by a stranger. Maybe there's a warrant out for their arrest. But what happens next is the scammer offers a solution, and now the consumer has to transfer their funds somewhere for safekeeping. The excuses vary, but the intent is always the same. They want the consumers to willingly give them money to that scammer, and usually through gift cards or cryptocurrency. But we've even seen where it's been gold bars. Then it snowballs further. The multiple scammers are often involved in the scheme. The first person you speak to might transfer you to someone else within their network who has you enter your information on a fake government website. Then a third person from the fake agency calls you, making the scam more believable. And snowballing it's just not one specific scam. It's all these techniques and tactics tied together to maximize those gains.
Can you give us some recent examples of some things that went wrong for consumers?
Sure. So something really recent is that a scammer impersonated the USPS, United States Postal Service, and they told the consumer that their identity had been stolen and someone had opened new bank accounts in their name. Later, the consumer was contacted by a fake DEA agent who claimed there was a warrant, a arrest warrant out for them, saying their name was associated with money laundering and drug trafficking. And then they sent the scammer over $9,000 in gift cards. A different example is that another Wisconsin consumer paid $155,000 in fake taxes and fees after being told that they won the Mega Millions lottery. Later, a fake consumer protection agency called and asked for money. The consumer refused and was then contacted by a third imposter who said that the federal agent and that they were there to help resolve the problem and recover the stolen funds. They just needed to help pay for those legal services.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you have to pay money, there's a red flag there, isn't there?
Especially if you're associated with government. Absolutely. You're not buying anything. You're not, hooking up for a service. You are dealing with what they are calling the government in these situations. But it's easy to lose track of those when you're being threatened and you're being told something needs to be done immediately. So take a moment to ask yourself at each step if everything seems legitimate. If anything is suspicious, just stop immediately and contact either local law enforcement or DATCAP, and then talk to someone you trust before you pay any money or provide any private information. No matter what the situation is, find someone you can trust in your circle, in your network, that you can discuss the situation with, just to do a checks and balances. And if you're ever asked to send money to a business or government agency by wire transfer, cash, gift cards, cryptocurrency, or some other unusual form of payment like the gold bars, that is a scam, and stop immediately.
Yeah, it just seems so easy sitting here as we talk, thinking I wouldn't send a gift card. I don't send gift cards when I should, I mean, but it sounds like it's fairly easy to get hooked, right?
It absolutely is, and I don't want anybody to get down on themselves if they've fallen victim to this, but we need them to report it, and we need them to discuss it so we can find out the methods the scammers are using and get the word out. But let's try and help recognize what these red flags are.
All right. Fraudulent gift exchange schemes. That's another theme this month, Michelle.
Absolutely. So this is a little different, and maybe you've participated in a gift exchange in person, but games like Secret Santa or White Elephant are really common among friends and family, coworkers, and other groups. But a gift exchange you find online, that could be a scam. And worst of all, if you join in, you could be participating in an illegal scheme without even knowing it. And how it works is that you receive an email or an invitation from a Facebook group or maybe a Telegram channel to join a gift exchange with strangers on the internet. And in some cases, you could even be invited by a real-life friend or acquaintance. And the pitch sounds fun, and it can be very convincing, but the real goal of these groups is not to spread the gift-giving spirit. And they're run by these scammers and often only ask for your name, address, and possibly a friend's contact information so they can also be asked to join this gift exchange. What happens next is you're told to send a gift to a stranger, oftentimes called a secret sister, with the promise that another stranger will send you a gift. And then some schemes promise that the more people you recruit, the more gifts you're going to receive. But unfortunately, the targets rarely receive anything, so the consumers that get involved in this. And you're just giving a scammer your private information, which of course can lead to identity theft and whatever product you purchase that will likely be resold by the scammer.
Well, interesting. So what are some ways to maybe avoid this?
Well, you can avoid these by not entering into them with strangers. Recognize when you're invited in from these groups where you don't know people, that would be a great way to recognize that you don't want to participate. And if you're asked to recruit new members or promise more gifts if you recruit more, that should be a red flag. And just stop participating right away and contact DADCAP if you've engaged in one of these and you want to back away and just need to talk it through.
Holiday travels, a lot of people will be taken to the air and the trains and whatnot over the course of the holidays. I've heard of some pre-check scams. What can you tell us about those?
Yeah, none of us like waiting in line, and we all enjoy it if you get selected for TSA PreCheck, and that can speed things up. And scammers know this, and so they send emails appearing to be from TSA PreCheck. The emails want you to click a link that takes you to a fake website that looks like the official TSA website, so it's an imposter. If you pay to enroll or renew your TSA PreCheck, you might not even realize that you've just been paying a scammer until you get to the airport. But there are ways that we can spot these. And the first is if you're applying for TSA PreCheck for the first time, you can't pay the application fee online. To get PreCheck, you complete the application and pay in person at a TSA enrollment center, which you can find those locations online, but only a scammer will ask you to pay online to enroll. And if you already have TSA PreCheck and it's time to renew, you can pay either in person or online. The real TSA will send renewal reminder emails out. To avoid the scam, start your renewal by directly typing in the web address, tsa.gov/PreCheck, instead of clicking on the link. Even if you get that reminder, let it be your reminder But just to be sure you don't get caught up with a scammer, type in the web address yourself. This will ensure that you're really at the TSA website and not at that scammer's imposter site.
Boy, traveling is stressful enough without throwing something like this in, right?
Especially if you haven't left enough time for the normal security line. Yes, you don't need that extra stress of the scam and the potential of a log line at security.
Well, cold weather is here, and, the threat of shutting off utilities has also been scammed recently. What's the latest on that, Michelle?
Yeah, this seems to be our annual reminder because we certainly see spikes in the phone calls and messages that come during this time of year. And so we want to remind everybody how this scam works, the utility scam. The scammers contact consumers claiming to represent a local utility company, and they often manipulate the caller ID by spoofing that phone number, making it look local. They mention work orders during the telephone conversation, billing statements, truck numbers, and other very specific details that make it seem legitimate that a truck is on its way to do a disconnection. Really, they just want consumers to act out of this fear before they get a chance to stop and think. So they use very high-pressure tactics and often ask for immediate payment during that phone call. Again, they indicate that your bills may be delinquent or overdue for other reasons, inappropriate paperwork, and that they're going to be doing a disconnection. So hang up on these. And if you are at all concerned that it's legitimate, always reach out to your local utility company directly to work out a billing or a payment system or find out about alternative resources that may be available to you.
So I know there's a moratorium over the winter in the state of Wisconsin. That takes effect, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So the moratorium on utilities disconnections is active right now. It goes until April 15th, and consumers who need assistance with their utility bills should reach out when they need that assistance and not wait until spring, because it just adds extra stress that's not needed and could create a situation where you could fall victim to one of these utility scams. But you can reach out for energy assistance by calling the statewide customer care center or visit energyandhousing.wi.gov. You can get water assistance by calling the statewide customer care center as well. You can always reach out for other resources and options by calling 211 and seeing what's available in your county and community.
Tell us about Uville and how that helps kids with the internet safety.
Yeah, we're bringing this up right now since we'll be headed into a winter break, and it might be a good opportunity. Plus, there might be more online or connected devices entering the household at this point. And we know young people spend a lot of time online, and they are a higher age group for falling victim. But the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, has started a new program called Uville that can help parents and educators teach kids ages 8 to 12 about privacy and online safety. It's free, it's standards-based, and that's important for education and learning, and contains activities to help kids learn how to safely navigate the online world in a way that can be really engaging and fun. It overall consists of 12 lessons, activity sheets, posters, and other free materials. And it can, again, be used by parents or in different classrooms, libraries, after-school care programs, youth groups. So there's a lot of possibilities here that it might be useful for individuals to take a look at this. And especially, like I said, going into the holiday break could be entertaining and learning at the same time. But you can find it at consumer.ftc.gov and just search Uville.
Mm-hmm. Youville. All one word.
That's right.
All right.
All in the name of something else. Uville.
Uville. Sounds like Dr. Seuss or something, maybe.
Exactly what I think of.
we want to keep people out of jams. And, we talked about gift cards and sending gift cards. Is there a way that that scammers could get a hold of you if you've been given a gift card and you use it, Michelle?
Well, the thing with gift cards is that scammers have done some different tricks with gift cards especially during the holiday season. So they've actually started placing stickers with a fake barcode over real gift cards. And so what can happen is when you go to pay and activate your gift card, you're not activating the one you have in your hands. If you don't notice the sticker, you're actually activating the one the scammer has. And so you're giving them the money on that gift card that they have in their hands because of that. So we need consumers to be cautious when purchasing those gift cards this holiday season. And then they're also they've tampered with gift cards to pick up the barcode on them that are sitting there at the kiosk with the security code. And so when they're activated, they often are draining them before they're even given to the gift recipient. So buy your gift cards as close to the time period when you're going to give it as possible and get that recipient to use it as quickly as possible. Or if they have an account with the retailer that you purchased it for, load that amount onto their cart until they select what they're going to purchase, so it's there waiting for them, as opposed to the scammer draining that gift card.
That brings up an interesting point, though. Somebody gives me a gift card, and I go in, and the retailer says, "Oh, there's nothing on that card," and I think, "Well, that's cheap, so and so," But how do you know?
Yeah. Well, it's really important that you give an activation receipt when you're giving a gift card.
Sure.
And then if you receive one, like I said, try and use it as quickly as possible or load it into your account. But you can, as soon as you get it, often there are instructions and information out on how to check the balance of a gift card. And so pay attention to those terms and conditions that you receive when purchasing them and pass them along to the recipient so they can monitor and keep track of that gift card and notice if there's any suspicious activity. And if there is, report that to the retailer as quickly as possible to see if there's any recovery steps that can be taken.
Well, always good stuff, Michelle. And I know you're going to be back on the morning show later this month to talk about some other topics around the holidays. Can you give us a little sneak preview of what you'll be talking about then?
Well, I think we can talk about some charitable giving, the online holiday schemes that are out there, package delivery schemes, and toy safety.
Oh, okay. All good topics and timely. Thank you so much for your expertise today.
Well, thank you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to the Consumer Protection Hotline at 1-800-422-7128.
That's Michelle Reinert, Administrator for Division of Trade and Consumer Protection, Wisconsin Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection, on this portion of the Morning Show.